right, guys, as we mentioned, there's only 1 week left in the regular season. The Mets have had plenty of ups and downs, walk-offs, and big comebacks. So we would love you to think back on the 150 plus games you've watched and called this season and tell us what was your most memorable game of the season. Gary, I'll start with you.
Well, I mean, there have been a lot. I mean, this team was in the depths of despair for so long, and there were a lot of comebacks in June when they first started playing well. JD Martinez hit a walk-off home run against the Marlins that was big. But I go back to a couple of more recent moments. One of the things we have not talked about this season with the Mets during this conversation has been Edwin Diaz, and Diaz's season has really mirrored the Mets season. He had a very rough month of May, and then he got hurt. And when he came back in June, he was better, and he's been better. But he hit a big downturn in August when we went on that road trip where he gave up the game-winning home runs to Jackson Merrill and then the grand slam to Corbin Carroll. And it looked like his season was starting to take a downturn. And the next day, after the Corbin Carroll grand slam, he came out and pitched in the final game of that series in Arizona. And he was a changed man after throwing so many sliders and giving up home runs on sliders. He came out and threw almost all fastballs that day. And we said that this was probably the most important outing of the year, the most important inning of the year, because if Diaz gave it up again, there would be such a pall cast over this team. Well, he came out and he blew the Diamondbacks away that day. From that moment on, the Mets are 18-5. So to me, that was a huge turning point in the Mets season. The other thing I would point to is a game that we did not broadcast. That was last night, because I don't know how many Met fans felt this way, but when Bryson Stott stole third base against Diaz in the ninth inning, and Alvarez's throw hit third base and stayed right where it was instead of going down the left field line to allow the tying run to score, it harkened me back to 1973, coming down the stretch against the Pirates, where the ball hit by Dave Augustine hit off the top of the fence and came back into Cleon Jones's hands, and they threw out Richie Zisk at the plate, and they won a key game going down the stretch in the year the Mets wound up improbably getting to the World Series. So we had the ball off the wall. This was the ball off the bag. And it immediately popped into my mind last night. I don't know how many Met fans felt the same, but it gives you, it's one of those things that happens in the course of a season that gives you an idea that maybe there's a little destiny behind this team.
Yeah, Keith mentioned it being a magical season, and that's definitely one of those magical moments. I think we lost Keith for a second, so I'm going to come back to you, Gary. What was your favorite non-baseball booth moment of the season? And I know you guys have so much fun in the booth. I have a lot of favorite moments from you guys. You guys are hilarious. But if you can figure out or think of one or two moments that are non-baseball related, what would you think of?
The problem is that after 19 years of working with these guys, it all kind of jumbles together, and it's hard to remember what has happened in what season. Usually the best moments involve a food being delivered to the booth and Keith diving into it and talking with his mouth full, and
perfect timing for Keith to rejoin us.
There are moments when one of us might say something and one of us might not be paying full attention, and we jump back in, and I don't know, Keith, you take it from here. What's the best non-baseball moment in the booth this year? I can't come up with any specifics.
I can't either. The season has been the season's gone by fast. We've done I do 110 games. We watch when we're not doing games. We DVR and watch in the morning, so we stay apprised of what's going on. I can't think of anything unusual that happened in the booth this year. I was disappointed. I've always wanted it annually to have Jerry Seinfeld in the booth, and we didn't do that this year. And it's always great to have Jerry in the booth as a Met fan. It would have been a perfect year for it. I think it was a major oversight by the network.
Well, we'll have to talk to our guy, John, who we already name dropped in this show, which we love so very much. But you guys are just so much fun in the booth. And Mets fans, of course, and all of us at SNY, we just love hearing all three of you when you're together. It's just a loads of fun.